Hello everyone. Again, this is your junior high school math teacher and I'm going to discuss uh, part 2 of our lesson about solving word problems related to uh, right triangles. In our previous topic, I discussed about solving word problems involving angle of elevation. So in this video, we will have the continuation of the discussion about solving problems, but this time we will consider now those problems which relate to the angle of depression. Now we go directly to some illustrative examples. So let's begin with this one. To an observer above a lighthouse, 360 meters tall, the angle of elevation to an approaching ship is 31 degrees. Find the horizontal distance of that ship to the foot of the lighthouse. Now, to analyze this problem, we are required to illustrate this word problem, like this one. So we have here a lighthouse, and on top of the lighthouse, an observer sighted a ship with an angle of depression of 31 degrees. So when we say angle of depression, our reference line here is the horizontal, and with respect to the horizontal, the line of sight with the horizontal form an angle of depression of 31 degrees. So the object that is observed here is the ship. Okay, so this is 31 degrees. And from this problem, the height of the lighthouse is given as 360 meters. So the problem is requiring us to find the distance of the ship from the foot of the lighthouse. So this is the distance. Okay, so this is the one we're going to look for. Okay, so the horizontal distance of the ship to the foot of the lighthouse. Now for our solution, now since the horizontal line is parallel to the indicated distance x, actually this is x, then recalling the principles of parallelism in your previous mathematics subject, it follows that the alternate interior angles are equal. Therefore, if this is your 31 degrees, the angle from the ship is also 31 degrees. Okay? So, it means, ayun, angle formed from the ship to the lighthouse with the line X is also 31 degrees. The line X is this one. Okay? The unknown distance. Now, if we redraw the diagram, we will have a right triangle, and the lighthouse height is the vertical leg of this right triangle, and the horizontal leg is the one we're going to look for, which is the distance between the lighthouse and the ship, denoted by small letter x. And 31 degrees is this angle. Using the principles of parallelism, since this horizontal line and this line here are parallel, then the line of sight is actually the transversal. So cut if this cuts the two parallel line, therefore these are the alternate interior angles that are equal in measure. So it follows that this angle right here is also 31 degrees. So this is the triangle. Now, recall the ratio to be used here in order to solve for x. We have what? Now with reference to 31-degree angle, x right here is the adjacent leg, and the height of the lighthouse, which is 360 meters, is the opposite to this angle. Therefore, the trigonometric function to be used here is what? Tangent of 31 degrees, and that is equivalent to the ratio of 360 over x. And from here, we can solve for x. Using your scientific calculator, we can find the value of tangent 31 degrees, and that is 0.601. Okay? And that is equated to the ratio 360 over x. And from here, manipulating this equation, solving for x, we have this one. X is equal to 360 divided by 0.601. And we have what? X is equal to 599.002 meters. This is actually the distance of the ship from the foot of the lighthouse. Okay? And, okay. So this is our answer. Now for our next slide, we will now consider the second example, problem number 2. And the problem goes like this. An airship is flying at an altitude of 800 meters when it spots a village in a distance with a depression or angle of depression of 12 degrees. Now the question is, how far is the village from where the plane is flying over? Now, to analyze the problem, we need to illustrate this problem. And by doing so, let us draw the situation. So this one right here is the airship that is already flying at an altitude of 800 meters. So it is already floating at the height of 800 meters from the ground. So this is the height or the altitude. And at the same time, an observer from this airship spotted a village, which is this one. And from that airship, it is spotted that the depression angle or angle of depression of the ship is 12 degrees. So when we say angle of depression, it is the angle formed by the line of sight with respect to horizontal. Okay? So if this is the line of sight, we need to draw the horizontal to complete that depression angle. And with respect to this horizontal, this line of sight form an angle of how many degrees? That is actually 12 degrees, like this. So the question is, how far is the village from where the plane is flying over? So it means the distance being asked here is from the village to the place where the uh, airship is flying over. So below, directly below. Okay, from this point below the airship going to the village. So what is the distance? So let us project the horizontal line to complete this right triangle. So this blue line segment is the one we're going to look for, which is the distance of the village from the point where this airship is flying over. So let us denote this as x, which is the required distance. And we know that the figure that we have just formed here is a right triangle. So there is we can add the small square drawn at the corner. This one. Now what shall we do? Okay, since this is 12 degrees, what do you think is the measure of this angle? Now, if you, again, recall the principles of parallelism in your math grade 8, it means this broken horizontal line is actually parallel to this line. And we know that when these two coplanar parallel lines are cut by this transversal, which happens to be the line of sight, it means these two angles form a specific pair known as an alternate interior angles. And under the principles of parallelism, these two angles are congruent. So it follows that if this is 12, this angle right here is also 12 degrees. And with that, we have already labeled the necessary given parts in order to find the required unknown, which is the distance of the two places, the village and the place where this airship is flying over. Okay, so solution. We are about to determine the required distance denoted by small letter x. And the trigonometric function to be used here is what? It's tangent. Tangent of what? 12 degrees, which is under the SOHCAHTOA, tangent of an angle 12 degrees is defined as the opposite leg, which happens to be 800, over the adjacent leg, which is the one we're going to look for, x. And from this formed equation, we can now solve for x. And the solution goes like this. X is equal to 800 over tangent of x. You just simply interchange the position of these two. Well, actually, we just did the cross multiplication process. And with that step, we have just transformed this equation to this one, solving for x. And using your scientific calculator, look for the equivalent value of tangent 12 degrees, and that is what? 0.21256. And again, using your scientific calculator, divide 800 by this value, and you will have the value of x, which is equal to 3,763.7 meters. Therefore, the required distance is what? 3,763.7 meters. Okay, so this is the distance of the village from the point where this airship is flying over. Okay,